Here's a number that should make every casino executive in Las Vegas lose sleep tonight. In the first half of 2025, over 1.1 million fewer people walked the Strip compared to the year before. Not a dip, not a blip, a full-scale retreat. And in 2026, the tourists who are still showing up are doing something the industry never saw coming. They're talking, loudly, on Reddit, on X, on TikTok, in comment sections and travel forums. They are documenting exactly why they quit Las Vegas. And what they're saying is devastating. Hi, my name is Michael, and this is Old Vegas Legends. The exodus is real, the numbers don't lie. The cold hard facts, because before we get into the stories, you need to understand the scale of what's actually happening here. The Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority reported that June 2025 saw 3.1 million visitors. Sounds like a lot, right? Until you compare it to June 2024, which brought in 3.49 million. That's a drop of 11.3%. Nearly 400,000 people who looked at Las Vegas and said, you know what, I'm good. For the first half of 2025, visitation dropped 7.3% compared to 2024. Over 1.1 million fewer visitors. Harry Reid International Airport reported passenger counts down 6.3% in June alone. These aren't rounding errors. This is a mass exit. Hotel occupancy on the Strip dropped to 85.3% in May 2025, down from 88.5% the previous year. Weekend occupancy, the lifeblood of Vegas, fell from 93.4% to 89.9%. And the Nevada Gaming Control Board reported that Strip gaming revenue fell 3.9% in May 2025 compared to May 2024. 4 consecutive months of decline. June was even worse, with downtown Las Vegas seeing an 11.3% revenue drop. Now, here's the twist that the casinos don't want to talk about. Despite fewer people showing up, the average visitor in 2024 spent $1,322 per trip. That's 5% more than 2023. Sounds great on paper. But Jeremy Aguero from Applied Analysis, the firm that tracks every single dollar flowing through Southern Nevada, broke down exactly where that money went when he presented to the LVCVA in April 2025. Higher room rates, resort fees, parking charges, retail shopping, food and beverage costs. Meanwhile, spending on gaming, sightseeing, and sports actually decreased. Read that again slowly. Visitors are spending 53% more per trip than they did in 2019, and they're gambling less. The house isn't just winning at the tables anymore. They're winning before you ever sit down, before you pull a single lever, before you find your room. And the people who figured that out, they stopped coming. Which brings us to the voices that Vegas desperately needs to hear. I used to come 4 times a year. The loyalist revolt. These aren't tourists who went to Vegas once, had a bad time, and wrote a nasty review. These are the people who kept this city alive for decades. The ones who flew in from Cleveland and Calgary and Chicago every few months, like clockwork. The ones who knew which cocktail waitress worked, which floor at the Bellagio. The ones who had a favorite blackjack dealer and tipped them well and came back the following spring to find them gone. These are the loyalists. And in 2026, they are done. On Reddit's r Las Vegas, one of the most active travel communities on the internet, the testimonials are pouring in at a rate that would make any marketing executive reach for antacids. And I've been reading them, all of them, so you don't have to. One user wrote, and I'm paraphrasing here, because the original was a lot more colorful. I used to go 4 or 5 times a year. Now I go twice, and I'm seriously considering cutting that down to once. I bring protein bars for breakfast, eat at sandwich places for lunch and dinner, and just try to survive the trip without going broke before I've even touched a slot machine. Protein bars. In Las Vegas, the city that used to feed you prime rib at midnight for $9.95. Another longtime visitor posted on X, formerly Twitter, a comment that went viral with over 15,000 likes in April 2025. It read, "The value proposition of Vegas has completely collapsed. Overpriced. Everything is worn down. Not fun. Younger people don't gamble. Not much else to do. There was a time when you could get great value and have a great time. Now you're just feeling ripped off." That comment from a regular person sitting at home made it into an official report to the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. Think about that for a moment. The Tourism Authority had to formally acknowledge that their own customers were publicly declaring Vegas no longer provided value. On TikTok, the stories get even more personal. One woman in her 40s described her last visit in detail. Checked in, got hit with fees she didn't expect, couldn't find a blackjack table under $50, paid $32 for a burger that was, quote, aggressively mediocre, and sat by a pool she paid extra to access at a resort where she was already paying to stay. She ended the video with 7 words that are basically the slogan for this entire movement. I will not be coming back here. And that video has been viewed over 2 million times. Steve Hill, CEO of the LVCVA, acknowledged what he called concerns in the middle third of the market. That's industry language. Translation: the regular people, the working families, the middle-class loyalists who flew in twice a year and built their vacation budgets around a Vegas trip. Those people are vanishing. And the casinos, by and large, are shrugging. Because here's the thing they keep telling themselves. The whales are still coming. The high rollers are still dropping $50,000 a weekend. So, who needs the guy from Dayton with his $400 gambling budget and his protein bars? Spoiler alert, Vegas needs him. Vegas was built on him. And the story of what happened when they forgot, that is the story we're telling today. The resort fee rage, death by 1,000 charges. If you want to understand what finally broke the Vegas loyalist, you don't start with the gambling. You start with the moment they tried to check in. Remember when your room rate was just your room rate? Those days are dead and buried, and somebody poured concrete over the grave. Resort fees now average $40 to $55 per night on top of room rates that have already skyrocketed. MGM raised them twice in 2024. The second increase came in December, just to make sure the holiday season felt a little extra punishing. What do you get for that money? Wi-Fi, which should be free in 2026. Pool access at the resort, where you're already paying to stay. And maybe a phone number you can call if something goes wrong, though good luck getting through. But it doesn't stop there. In 2024, MGM quietly added a $15 per night fee just for booking by phone. $21 total once taxes hit. For talking to a human being. I genuinely wish I was making that up. Then there's parking. Free parking was once an unwritten law of Vegas hospitality, a basic covenant. You park, you gamble, everyone wins. That covenant is gone. Premium properties now charge $20 to $40 per day. Stack the 13.38% room tax on top of everything, and the $150 room is suddenly $240 by checkout. A Flamingo guest discovered a $60 early check-in charge mid-stay. His tweet went viral, not because it was shocking, because it was relatable. One Redditor nailed it. By nickel, I mean $25. And by dime, I mean also $25. These fees aren't improving your experience. They're feeding quarterly earnings reports for shareholders who've never once pulled a slot handle in their lives. The table is rigged. How casinos destroyed the gambling experience. Here's a question for anyone who's played blackjack in Las Vegas in the last few years. When did you last sit down at a $25 table and feel like you actually had a shot? Because the math has changed, and not in a subtle way. According to Vegas Advantage's 2025 survey, the minimum for a 3-to-2 blackjack game in central Las Vegas is typically $25 to $50, even during off-peak hours. During busy times, it jumps to $100. If you want to play at Bellagio, Aria, or MGM Grand, the double-deck game starts at $100 minimum. Fontainebleau? $500 minimum. On a Tuesday afternoon, these used to be games where a $25 player could sit comfortably, tip the dealer, enjoy themselves for a few hours, and maybe walk away a little ahead. Now they're exclusively for high rollers, and everyone else is pointed toward the machines. But here's the part that really stings. The tables that are accessible to regular players have quietly rigged the odds against you in a way most people don't even notice. 6-to-5 blackjack payouts have become increasingly common across the Strip, in place of the traditional 3-to-2 ratio. What does that mean in real money? Your $10 bet now only nets you $12 when you hit 21 instead of 15. That single rule change increases the house edge by approximately 1.39%. You're losing money nearly 4 times faster than you should be. And the slots? The Nevada Gaming Control Board's 2024 data revealed that slot machine hold percentages increased to 7.2% statewide. The Las Vegas Strip held 8.23% from slots. Downtown Las Vegas held a shocking 8.47%. Penny slots, the most popular machines in the building, held almost 10% of all money wagered. Some downtown properties held 11% from penny slots. 11%. Just gone. Contrast that with Reno, where no denomination held more than 6.16%. Vegas isn't even trying to compete on value anymore. A 2015 industry report from Applied Analysis actually warned that tightening slot holds hurts revenue because players lose faster and leave sooner. The casinos read that report. They ignored it. They got greedy. And now they have empty floors. One Reddit user who claimed to be a regular visitor put it simply, "I ran $3,000 through the slots in about 30 minutes. Didn't win anything meaningful, left. I used to spend all day on those floors. Not anymore." That's not a gambling problem. That's a value problem. And it's driving people straight out the door and onto their phones, where, as one industry expert noted, young people have 40 options to gamble from the comfort of their own home. The U.S. online gambling market hit $12.68 billion in 2024. Vegas is literally competing with an app on someone's couch, and somehow losing that argument. The food and drink reckoning. Let me tell you about some nachos. In early 2024, a guest at the Fontainebleau Las Vegas, Nevada's tallest building and its most expensive resort at $3.7 billion, ordered a plate of nachos at the sportsbook. He waited an hour. When the plate arrived, it contained 6 tortilla chips, covered in melted cheese, surrounded by 4 dipping sauces. The price was $24. He posted a photo on social media with the caption, "Come on, man." It got 1.22 million views. Other Vegas casinos piled on gleefully. Four Queens offered pulled pork nachos for $12.99. Binion's promoted their nachos at $15. The hashtag NachoGate was born. And the Fontainebleau, already struggling with empty floors and executive departures, became a national punchline. But here's the thing about NachoGate. It wasn't really about nachos. It was about everything. It was about the $30 pancakes that Redditors have been documenting for 2 years, the $25 cocktails, the $35 burgers, the $44 for coffee and pastries, the $20 bottles of water at the pool, the $8 beers at the casino bar. It was about the buffet, because the Las Vegas buffet wasn't just a meal, it was a philosophy. It was the great equalizer. A construction worker from Ohio could sit next to a millionaire from Manhattan and eat the same crab legs off the same sneeze guard. As of March 2025, only 8 all-you-can-eat buffets remain on the Las Vegas Strip, down from dozens just years ago. The ones that survived, double or triple the price, with declining quality and service that makes you wonder if anyone in the back actually cares anymore. The buffet was the handshake between Vegas and the working person, the unspoken agreement that said, yes, the house will take your money at the tables, but we'll feed you well and treat you like a human being while we do it. That handshake is gone. And tourists notice. They're showing up, looking at a breakfast menu with $32 eggs Benedict and deciding, this is not it. Then they're posting about it on TikTok. Then they're telling their friends. Then their friends are booking Cancun instead. We'll get to that. The atmosphere collapse. Where did Vegas go? There's a video on YouTube that I keep coming back to. It's footage from the final night of the Mirage volcano, August 2024. The crowds packed the sidewalk, shoulder to shoulder, stretching down the strip in both directions. Everyone holding up their phones, all there to say goodbye to a piece of Vegas history before a wrecking ball took it forever. The Mirage volcano had been erupting every 15 minutes since 1989. 35 years of free spectacle. 35 years of people stopping dead in their tracks on the sidewalk and saying, wait, did that mountain just explode? And it was free. Nobody charged you to watch it. It was just there, doing its job, creating the electric atmosphere that made being on the Las Vegas Strip feel like nowhere else on Earth. It was demolished to make way for Hard Rock's guitar-shaped tower, which, sure, fine, progress. But what are we replacing it with exactly? another hotel for high rollers who arrive by private jet and never walk the Strip at all. Treasure Island's pirate battles, first Battle of Buccaneer Bay, and later Sirens of TI, entertained millions over 20 years, before being permanently shuttered back in 2013. At the time, the official line was that it had run its course, but the real reason was simpler. The space in front could be monetized differently. The crowds the pirates attracted were window shoppers, not high rollers. Marvel's Avengers Station at Treasure Island closed permanently on January 1st, 2024, another empty space where wonder once lived. One longtime visitor described it this way on Reddit. They broke the compact with the common man. It was a given that you would lose the money you brought gambling, but for that, you would eat pretty well, have a clean room, and access to a pool. That compact is shattered. Another local put it even more bluntly. Vegas was ruined once. MGM and Caesars bought everything. Monopolies suck. Even Peppermill used to be 24 hours. Even most stuff on the Strip was, not anymore. What made Las Vegas magical was never really about gambling. Plenty of places have gambling. What made Vegas Vegas was the sensation that you had stepped into a parallel universe where normal rules didn't apply, where volcanoes erupted outside hotel lobbies, where pirates fought in lagoons while families ate soft-serve ice cream on the sidewalk, where the sheer audacity of the whole enterprise made you feel genuinely alive in a way that a Tuesday afternoon in Cincinnati never quite managed. That feeling is disappearing. And when tourists show up expecting to feel it and instead walk through a hollowed-out luxury mall with $45 resort fees and $100 blackjack minimums, they feel something else entirely. Foolish. And then they go home. And then they don't come back. The competition is eating Vegas alive. Here's a sentence that would have been laughable 15 years ago. Travel agents are having trouble selling Las Vegas. Not slow, not soft, trouble. As in, clients are calling, asking for recommendations. And when the agent mentions Vegas, the response is a polite but firm, "Actually, what else do you have?" One travel agent put it bluntly in an industry forum. When you can go to an all-inclusive in Mexico cheaper than Las Vegas, you are going to choose Mexico. Vegas used to be a big seller. Hardly anyone asks anymore. Their greed took over, and the math checks out. A 4-night all-inclusive resort in Cancun or Cabo San Lucas, flights included, can run a family of 4 somewhere between $3,000 and $4,500, depending on the season. That price covers your room, all your food, all your drinks, entertainment, pool access, beach access, and the general sensation that someone is happy you're there. A 4-night trip to the Las Vegas Strip for a couple. Mid-tier hotel after resort fees, food, a couple of shows, some gambling money, and the occasional $20 bottle of water by the pool. You're looking at $3,000 minimum, easily more, and nobody's particularly thrilled to see you unless you're dropping serious money at the tables. Meanwhile, tribal casinos across the country have quietly been expanding their offerings for years. Arizona, California, Oklahoma, Connecticut. You can drive 2 hours from almost any major American city and find a casino with slot machines, table games, decent food, and a hotel. You don't need to buy a plane ticket. You don't need to pay a resort fee. You don't need to perform mental arithmetic just to understand what your room is actually going to cost. Atlantic City is promoting itself as a budget-friendly alternative. Napa Valley is touting wine country experiences. Cruise lines are offering packages where everything is included, and the entertainment comes to you. And on everyone's phone, in everyone's pocket, the sports betting apps and online casinos are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, requiring nothing more than a comfortable chair and the self-restraint to not gamble in your pajamas. Which, honestly, is a battle I think we've all lost at some point. The US online gambling market hit $12.68 billion in 2024. The casinos know this. They know that younger generations have abandoned the traditional casino floor in favor of gambling on their phones from home. And instead of innovating, instead of adapting, instead of figuring out how to make the in-person Vegas experience something that an app cannot replicate, they doubled down on squeezing their remaining customers harder. That is the choice they made. And this is the result. Who's actually still showing up, and why that's a problem. So, If over 1 million people stopped coming to Las Vegas in the first half of 2025, who exactly is still walking through those doors? Steve Hill, CEO of the LVCVA, answered that question in July 2025 when he told reporters, "We are not seeing any problem at the top of the market. The drop in visitation is at the lower end of the financial spectrum." Casino consultant Oliver Lovett was even more direct. Many resorts today are looking at key metrics such as being willing to operate with lower occupancy with the right people in the building. The right people, there it is. The two words that explain everything. The casinos are actively, deliberately, and openly culling their customer base. Caesars Entertainment CEO Tom Reeg put it as plainly as anyone could in a 2023 analyst call. "You're kicking out the lowest end. I see no reason that needs to stop or would stop." The CEO of one of the largest casino companies in the world, openly admitting they are intentionally driving away customers on a recorded call. And here's the fundamental problem with that strategy, which anyone who has read even one chapter of a basic economics textbook could explain to these executives for free. The whale market is small, volatile, and geographically contested. There are only so many ultra-high net worth individuals in the world who are willing to drop $50,000 on a Las Vegas weekend. And Vegas is competing for those same whales with Macau, Monaco, Singapore, the Bahamas, and a growing list of luxury gaming destinations that are investing heavily in the exact experience those players want. Meanwhile, according to research from John Dombrink's book, Legalized Gambling, America's Bad Bet, it is actually gamblers from the lower and lower middle classes who provide much of the gambling revenue in the United States, not the whales, the working people, the loyalists, the ones with the protein bars. A UNLV economics professor, Stephen Miller, predicted a slow contraction through 2026, warning that gross gaming revenue over time will likely return to pre-pandemic trends as savings and discretionary income return to where they were before the pandemic. That contraction is already happening, and the whales, the people Vegas is betting everything on, aren't enough to stop it. Imagine an NFL stadium where only the luxury boxes are occupied. How long do those luxury box holders keep paying premium prices if they're the only ones creating the atmosphere? How long before the whole thing just feels like a very expensive room with good wine and nobody to talk to? That's the Vegas the Strip is building, and the tourists have noticed. The workers left behind. I want to slow down for a second because in all the data and the Reddit threads and the earnings calls, it's easy to forget that there are real people whose lives are being dismantled by these decisions, and they deserve to be heard. Holly Lang, a 47-year-old cocktail waitress at MGM Grand, said it quietly but clearly. "I'm seeing a lot less tips than I normally would. We've definitely got a lot less foot traffic and a lot less people gambling." A Las Vegas server reported that tip revenue decreased by half compared to the previous summer, citing aggressive upselling tactics, repetitive restaurant concepts, and a general collapse in what she described as genuine hospitality. One TikTok user, a waitress on the Strip, held up her phone to the camera after a shift and said, "Last year around this time, I made $300 to $500 in tips. Today I just walked home with 124. In May 2025, up to 60 table game dealers at the Fontainebleau Las Vegas were let go effective immediately. Security handed them boxes. The $3.7 billion resort that opened to celebrity fanfare in December 2023, that named Time magazine's list of the world's greatest places, was letting go of the very people whose job it was to keep the casino floor alive. Reports suggest the property was losing $400,000 per day. One employee of a major casino company posted anonymously online, "I work for one of those greedy corporations, and they are ruining our city. VPs and executives get bonuses for cutting costs and staying under budget, while raising prices to astronomical levels. The place I work for even eliminated most live entertainment and leased out the space to boost profits. Bonuses for cutting costs. Bonuses for making the experience worse." And then those same executives get on earnings calls and express genuine confusion about why visitor numbers are declining. Meanwhile, Poker Palace, a family-owned casino that served North Las Vegas since 1974, announced it would close permanently in October 2025, laying off 126 employees. 51 years of history. gone because the big players have consolidated everything, squeezed out the independents, raised the costs, chased away the customers, and left the workers to carry the consequences. These are real people with rent, with kids, with decades of muscle memory about how to make a visitor feel welcome in this city. And they are being systematically hollowed out so that a publicly traded company can report slightly better quarterly margins to shareholders who have never once set foot on a casino floor. Can Vegas come back? So here's where we land. Las Vegas in 2026 is facing something it has never truly faced before. Not the recession of 2008, not the pandemic shutdown of 2020, not the mob-era federal crackdowns of the 1980s. Something more insidious. A voluntary, deliberate, eyes-open abandonment by the very people who built this city. Not because they stopped loving Vegas, but because Vegas stopped loving them back. The question everyone is asking in the Reddit threads and the TikTok comment sections and the travel forums, and yes, right here on Old Vegas Legends, is whether any of this is reversible. Can Vegas course correct? Can the Strip remember what it was and become that again, or at least something new that still honors the compact with the common person? There are small signs. Tourism consultant Desiree Stokes Bloom recommended a moratorium on resort fees to spur interest in travel to Southern Nevada. Resorts World Las Vegas has eliminated resort fees. The Nevada Gaming Control Board is considering rule changes. Some individual properties are experimenting with better value offers for mid-tier players. But real change requires something that corporate executives are notoriously terrible at: admitting they were wrong. Admitting that the quarterly earnings model that pushed them to squeeze every dollar from every visitor has damaged something that took decades to build and could take just as long to rebuild. Admitting that sustainable business isn't built on eliminating your customer base. Every economics textbook in the world will tell you that. And yet, here we are. The Vegas we loved, the one with the $9.95 prime rib, and the dollar blackjack tables, and the volcano erupting every 15 minutes just because it could. That Vegas understood something profound about human nature. It understood that people will happily lose money if you make them feel good while they're doing it. If you feed them well, treat them with dignity, give them a show, and let them believe, just for a weekend, that they're living a life bigger than their usual one. That was the magic. That was the compact. And it can be rebuilt. But not by chasing whales and forgetting the rest. Not by charging $25 for a cocktail and hoping nobody notices. Not by demolishing the volcano and replacing it with another tower that the average person will never afford to stay in. It gets rebuilt by remembering who was there when nobody else was. The loyalists, the regulars, the folks from Dayton and Calgary and Des Moines who flew in year after year because Las Vegas made them feel, just for a long weekend, like anything was possible. Those people are still out there. They haven't given up on Vegas forever. They're just waiting to see if Vegas gives them a reason to come back. I'm Michael, this is Old Vegas Legends, and we're not done fighting for the city we love. If this video put into words something you've been feeling for a while, hit that like button, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next, and drop your Vegas story in the comments below, because your experience matters more than any corporate earnings report ever will. We'll see you in the next one.